Hello and welcome to the program. My name is Joyce Nwosu. If you're a tenant, we have lined up options you can try, and this is based on research. Now, it will interest you to know that the tenancy law across all the various state jurisdictions does not allow reckless rent increase by property owners. Usually, it is expected at the commencement of landlord-tenant relationship that an agreement is made and duly executed by both parties thereto. The agreement will state the terms and conditions of the tenancy, one of which is expected to be a rent increase, which must be bilateral in nature. Now, let's quickly dive into what some Nigerians have to say.
Okay, imagine someone want to increase your house rent, and instead of him to tell you or notify you that, okay, in 6 months time I was going to increase your house rent, but they wouldn't do that. I don't know what is the problem. Okay, but I have this person, a friend, who rented a house, and you know what, because of this hardship that Nigerians are facing currently, the landlord has to reduce the house rent for them. I mean, is it not this good? You know, sometimes people are of different character, okay? But while some landlords are increasing the house rent, some are even considering that the hardship we are facing currently, there's every need for them to reduce the house rent, okay? But in my opinion, I think the Nigerian senators have to find a way to make a law that would compel a landlord, association of landlords, or how you call it, I don't know, that they should be considerate in terms of collecting house rent, because I can tell you now that Nigerians are very angry and hungry because the situation in the country now is very bad. This place, I can tell you that, okay, maybe when we started paying shop rent here, maybe after like 2 years, they have to increase it. Okay, we are paying like 250 before, but I can tell you now that we are paying 300. And they don't even care about how you are making your business or whether there's business or not. But all they are very interested on is to increase their house rent, and it's not good. I can tell you, it's not good. No. In my opinion, what I think every landlord should do is this: before you increase house rent, you have to give your tenant a notification that maybe in the next 6 months or 7 months, I was going to increase my house rent, so that people will be able to prepare for that. Not that you just come today that, hey, hello, who is there? Next year you're going to pay this, you're going to pay this also amount. It's very bad, I can tell you. But if I have house today, that is what I'm going to do. Before I increase the house rent, I make sure that I have a meeting with my tenants, and also to be very considerate with them. But today I want to say shout out to those who have human feeling in the face of this current hardship that reduce their tenant house rent. Only God can just reward them for that.
About the increment of the rents, the problem that we have, you understand, the landlord, they need to consider us, because actually things is hard, and we know the fact that at least we are maintaining their house. They should be grateful for that, because it's not a new building. So what we want them to do for us is for them to consider us, so that at least, since we are turning over with the rent, and as things are hard, business is not moving, so the only thing that we need from them is for them to try to understand with us, because the turnover now, when you are adding the rent, okay, we now agree and we are not meeting up, will you be liking that? So the only thing that we just want the landlord to understand is for you to just leave the rent the way it is and understand with the country, because if it's a new building, it's better, and if you are doing maintenance, it's better. But why tenants will stay in your house, who doing the maintaining of your house, and you are adding the rent, is bad. So that one is not considered. So we know that when things is hard and you consider your tenant too, that one will be better. So please, we are just begging. The landlord should try to understand with us and make things the way we can afford it, so that we should be happy, them too, they should be happy. Like, okay, look at this place. I'm the one that I at least renovate this place from the tiles to everything in this shop. I did that. But for now, I don't have any problem with my landlord. You understand? Because before doing it, I now asked him. He say, okay, there is no any problem. Because before doing it, I asked him, because it happened with me once. I tell my landlord that, okay, I collect us, I renovate the house. After doing it, he now add the rent. So I now say, okay, no, to stop that, because sometimes where you stay, you have to make it good. So I asked him, I say, okay, before I do this, please, I hope you are not this landlord that you'll be adding rent. Anyhow, he say no, he is not like that. So for moment now, I'm just like up to 5 months here. So I'm not facing that for now.
My landlord have not increased my rent. Still pay I think it. Okay, I started pay last year January. 250,000 for one bedroom flat. So I'm a new tenant for the particular area that I'm living in. Some area that is one of my friends that phase 2 was a complaint, was paying 200,000 for self-contained, but right now the landlord increased it to 250,000 naira.
Okay. So I'm a landlord in this Kurudu community. So I'm a businessman too. So, and I have a friends in surrounding me here. So where we landlords and whatever. So that's why we are living comfortably. But people, they are complaining concerning the house rents, because every day by day they are increasing the rent. So when those tenants, they are complaining, yes, they are complaining, and because we will not have the landlord associations, so when we can put that okay, well, your renty, reduce your renty, high your renty, that is the thing to work, because everybody are doing as they like. So that is how the rent be in entire Abuja now. Advice to be in a landlord associations. So because what make a house the cost in this in the entire Abuja here, because all these agents, they are the problem. Landlord will give them house either 100,000, they will put their own 170 or 200, because what they want eat. That is why you see the rent house coming up. Assuming say you meet the landlord direct, you see this, that house will they reduce, but because of agents, this one will bring this one will bring, will tell the owner that no, put this rate. That's why you see the house rent is very expensive now.
Welcome again. If you've just joined us, this is Housing Palava in my country, and we're looking at the topic, increase in rent. How do we handle this with landlords? Now, an increment in rent is a prerogative right of a landlord. Therefore, the question of whether a landlord can unilaterally increase rent should not be in contention between parties. This is because when a landlord increases rent and a tenant refuses, fails, and neglects to pay the new rent, the tenants may be served a notice to quit and the tenant has to vacate the apartment. Ordinarily, there should be a tenancy agreement between a landlord and a tenant where terms and conditions would be clearly stated. In this tenancy agreement, how and when rent can be increased would be one of the clauses, and a tenant should be given room to negotiate the new rent even if it is not stated as a clause in the tenancy agreement. Most times, an increment comes up once in 2 or 3 years or based on the economic reality of the country. However, a tenant has to be informed or given a notice at least 3 months before the expiration of the current tenancy agreement. House rents in Nigeria have been increasing due to a number of factors, including land scarcity, high demand, and expensive construction materials. In Lagos, the most populous state and economic capital of Nigeria, experts say rents have increased by over 100% in the last 4 years. This has led to a housing crisis where many residents are forced to cut back on essential spending or move further from work to afford housing. Here are some things to know about rent increases in Nigeria. Lagos State tenancy law limits rent increases to once per year and requires at least 3 months notice to the tenant. The law also caps the maximum security deposit amount at 6 months rent. Now, for rent control, some have proposed rent control to address the issue of rising rents. Rent control involves the government setting a standard rent limit to make housing more accessible and protect tenants from excessive increases. Also, you can negotiate. Now, you have to research comparable properties to find out what the rent is and make a counter offer. Thirdly, mediation. Use the free mediation services of the government. Also, you can ask for time. If the rent increase is reasonable but beyond your budget, ask for time to move out or complete your own house. Similarly, agree to a percentage increase. Agree to a percentage increase whereby you ask that there should be no further increase for at least 2 years. Finally, take your landlord to court. If you feel the landlord is increasing your rent as an act of retaliation or discrimination, you can take the landlord to court. In a nutshell, the landlord has to give notice of increment to the tenants before increasing the rent. Then it is up to the tenant to accept or decline. Let's take this break.
Situation in the country is the major cause of what the tenants are facing. A landlord who is retiree and have no other source of income. From what we have observed, the only thing they do is to increase the rent of that house. There have been efforts by government to regulate rents. But how feasible would this be? You can't control what does not belong to you. What if the man say, okay, I'm not renting my house again? You just remain there. So that is where the problem lies. What do I have to tell those who are renting at this crucial time in Nigeria history? I want to encourage you. There are many programs that the government is doing that can help you own your own house. I discovered that some of these people did not start this journey early. They prefer to buy a car rather than to start a journey of owning a house. So, I would like to encourage all the people that are renting, that are finding it difficult to pay their rent because of the increases almost every year, that get to know what the government is doing. There's this belief that I have that if you can pay your rent, you can own a house. That is a product of mortgage system. A particular amount of money you are dropping every year, every month. After 10 years, you say bye-bye to whoever is collecting that money from you. And I'm also aware that Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria have a product that is called rent to own. You rent to become the owner. I'd like to encourage tenants to check this out, which especially if you are a government worker, to check this out. And I'm also aware that even in the Federal Mortgage Bank, there's also this scheme of cooperative, that if you belong to a cooperative, you can go to Federal Mortgage Bank as a team and then own a house. These things are not things that we cannot tell you that we have people who are benefiting. You have a lot of people who are benefited from all these products we are talking about. And then when you also go to family home farm, you see one beautiful product that they launched last year, and that product has earned the family home farm an award from us. And it is called Help to Buy. Help to Buy. You buy the house, the family house, buy the house on your behalf, and then you pay little by little by little by little. And then recently, the Ministry of Finance Incorporated got the approval from the Federal Executive Council of some amount of money, which is to help Nigerian workers. This time around, the demand side will be assisted, the supply side will be assisted, and even beyond that. The MOFI will have access to funds from different places as far as they follow the corporate governance rule. With corporate governance rule, they can have access to funds from many international agencies, Islamic Bank, AFDP, Friends, mention it. And they can also go to capital markets and get money, which can assist both the demand and the supply side. I want to encourage you, as a tenant, make an inquiry about all those informations I have just given. This is the only way I think you can arrest the situation in the country today where the landlord is increasing rent every month.
Let's take this break. It's time for Inspire. Do stay with us.
I saved the house from this business. I start on. After I start on, I come back for travel with my father burials. My landlord gave me quick notice. Say, make I no stay for his house again. I look round. There's no helper. The remaining thing for my account. Now I tell one of my brothers, say, make he help me. Come find small land for me. Gradually, God help me. I mowed on a molding block. More than 2 rooms before, when me with my wife pack come out. After when I succeed this one before I develop the remaining one. I started the person who wants to supply me wood. At times every week I will pay him the money. Every week I return the money for him till when I pay and finish everything from the same thing with zinc. I have to do it like that, gradually, till when I finish everything. Out of that time, I did use my pay my children's school fees. I had done it with that. During the time, something not be like that. You know how Nigeria the thing always. Nobody trusts how people behave now. If a person tell you, say, okay, we'll give you something, one time this, no give you. You cannot possible like that. I cannot help this person. But if you trust yourself, you know that this is the way. You go to and the play when you leave. The person will help you and attend you how the thing will move. How the man helped me. Many of them, when he helped me that time to succeed me, make I just give the house because my landlord just gave me that quick notice when I no expect. So that's the thing. When I say I no go date for somebody's house, anyway, when I manage my life, when suffer life there, I go just enter the inside. How I just locate that place with that. Now, how children? One don't finish university. Another one don't finish it. 2 of them finish secondary school. Small one there for primary school. Maybe possible like that. If you want to train your children, manage yourself how you're supposed to be done and just arrange yourself well. As I don't do manage, gather money before I start my own, make everybody, anybody when they look for that type of work, may not take yourself, say, hey, that job cannot bring me that thing when I want. Now gradually, God will must help you to get those things, to have the thing when you have it, to train your children. Also, anybody when have that type of work, may know how to just eat and know how to manage their life also before we succeed.
Thank you for still staying with Housing Palava in my country. Let's take you to some eyewitness reports. Enjoy it. That's the show. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at Housing TV Africa. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Housing TV Africa on YouTube. Remember that we desire more likes, shares, and follows. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. I'm Joyce also.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.